Hello, my name is Joshua Hewlett, and this is my video response for the MSW program at ISU. To get started, the reason I'm wanting to pursue an MSW in general is because I want to go into the field of counseling and to work with clients on a more one-on-one basis or a small group setting. Um, at this current time, though, it is because I am ready to move on from my current position. I've been a caseworker with Adult Protective Services for the past 2.5 years, and for a large amount of that time, it has been during the COVID-19 pandemic. So there have been policy changes and reductions to the amount of client work I've been able to do that normally I was looking forward to. It's a lot more of just paperwork and phone calls, and there isn't much of a rapport building process as I would like. On top of that, even prior to the pandemic, as a caseworker, I always felt like more of a glorified middleman than a full on working with the clients. It was more of just making referrals and saying, hey, here's who you can go to get help, or here's what you can do to get help, rather than getting to actually work with the clients and help facilitate that change in a more direct approach. And I have been very financially frugal while working as a caseworker with the intent of I have saved up enough money to support myself individually without having to work while in grad school. So ideally, for the next year, I could dedicate all of my time to my academic studies as well as the practicum placement. Um, the specialization I am interested in is the child and family practice. My goal, like I mentioned, is to go into counseling. I'm honestly uncertain what type of counseling or if I want to have a specific type of counseling to work with. I've considered possibly more of a familial counseling, individual counseling, even possibly marriage counseling has been kind of appealed to me. But again, I have little background in actual professional experience of that, so I'm not 100% certain. I do plan to get my LCSW after I finish grad school because, again, I recognize that I have to have that to go into counseling. Um, Based on my own personal experiences and background, I'm very interested in working more of the kind of the mental health counseling aspect of working with people who are struggling with depression, anxiety, self-esteem issues, or anything kind of under the sun in that regard. I feel like I would be decent at that, and I have a lot of experience with that already. Um, but experience that had the biggest impact on my desire to pursue social work was when I was a sophomore in college. A childhood best friend of mine died by suicide. We had grown apart during high school, but I still felt pretty guilty about it that maybe I could have done more or I should have done more because he was in med school, no one seemed to be aware that he had even been contemplating suicide. And for a long time, that guilt kind of ate at me. And I thought, you know what? Had I been able to better connect or reach out, maybe I could have done something. I no longer feel guilty about that, but I understand and I've lived through that experience and that pain of what it's like to know someone who has died by suicide and to feel that guilt. Also, I have had my own struggles with mental illness and depression and suicidal ideation. And with the help of counseling and familial and friendships supporting me, I've been able to go overcome that. And to me, the idea that maybe if I could go into counseling and help be that change for someone else, help be that catalyst to promote them to use their traumas and their pain to grow into a stronger, more complete person, I think that's what gives me the most drive in the field of social work is the ability to affect change in other people's lives for a positive way. Um, Thank you for your time and thank you for your consideration for me to get into the master's program.